Welcome to today's Mishna Brura. We are doing chapter 96 and 97, number 1. So he says, Shiyimna, he should remove or restrain kol hatirdot, all of the disturbances, kadei sheyechavein, in order that he should focus. Keshu mitpalel, when he's davening, lo yechoz biyado tefillin, he should not hold in his hand tefillin, velo sefer mikitva kodesh, and not a book of holy writings, velo ki'aram leah, nor a bowl that is full, velo sakinu maot v'kikar, nor a knife, coins, or a loaf of bread, mibnei, because shelibo aleihem shelo yiplu, that his heart is on them, that they should not fall. In other words, he's distracted by what he's holding. V'yitared, and he'll be distracted. V'titbalbel kavanato, and his intention, his focus, will be confused, mixed up. V'lulav bizmano mutar le'achos biyado, and a lulav in its time during Sukkot, it is permissible to hold it in his hand. Kavan she'achiz biyado hi mitzvah, since holding it in his hand is a mitzvah, einu nitrad bishvilo, you will not be distracted by it. Number 2, mutar le'achos machzor tfilot biyado, he is allowed to hold a machzor of prayers in his hand, b'shah shemitpalel, at the time that he prays, po'il, since, v'tofes, he is holding it, L'tzorech tefillah atzmah, for the needs of the prayer itself, lo tarid, you will not be distracted. Dum yadu lulav, similar to Aramaic, to the lulav, demishum de lekichato mitzvah, since taking it as a mitzvah, lo tarid, you will not be distracted. The Ramo says, mikol makom, nevertheless, im lo haya biyado korem shetchil, if it was not in his hand before he started, lo yachzir acharav betfilah litlo, you should not go around after or during tefillah to take it. Unless it was in a specific place that it was ready, right? In other words, if he has it ready, waiting there for him to take it for the davening, so then that's all right. As mutar litlo, then he can take it. Afilu b'toch tefillah, in order, even with during the prayer, kedei litpalel mitocho, in order to pray from it. So you started your amidah without the siddur, and then you stop and you start all looking around. Where's the siddur? That you shouldn't do. But if it's right there, so then you can take it, no problem. Number 97, shelo yigahek v'shelo yefahek b'shat tefillah, that a person should not belch or yawn at the time of prayer. Lo yigahek, he should not belch, motzi migufo lefiv neficha mitoch sov'o, where he brings out from his body to his mouth a belch from satiation. Velo yefahek, and he should not yawn, potach piv, opens his mouth, lo hotzi reach hapeh, to let out the air from the mouth. Vim tzarich lefahek mitoch ones, and if he needs to yawn from factors beyond his control, yaniach yado al piv, he should place his hand over his mouth. Shelo teira'eh petichato, they should not see that he's opened his mouth. Ve'yizaher shelo yaniach yado al san teiro, and he should be careful not to place his hand over his chin at the time of prayer. Because that is a way of arrogance. You know, you're sitting there stroking your chin. Hashem, what do you have to tell me today? When really you are praying to Hashem for your very life and survival. So, coming back now, we say when you are praying, you shouldn't be holding any of these things. Same thing during Shema Psukat Zimra, you shouldn't be holding any of these things, that you're going to be distracted by the very fact of holding them. And you shouldn't hold on to. Uvidiavad, post facto. You don't need to go back and pray. Unless he knew that through this holding he did not focus during the blessing of Avot, that first blessing of Amidah. And it is permissible for the Shliach Tzibur to hold the Sefer Torah in his hand at the time that he says Yakum Purkan, Dekevan, since Shekavnato az litpalel al lomdei Torah. His intention then is to pray for those studying Torah. Al kain machazik ha-sefer Torah biyado. Therefore, he's holding the Torah in his hands. V'lo l'shem shmira, and not to protect it. He's not holding the Torah to protect. He's holding the Torah to lift it up as a symbol of the prayer that we're saying for all those who are studying Torah. V'havei kamo lulav bizmano, and again, it's like holding the lulav at the right time when it's a mitzvah. V'chein mutar lachzik b'shah shemavarchim hachodesh. So too, you're allowed to hold on to the Sefer Torah at the time that we are saying the blessing of the Chodesh. Lo Sefer, you should hold on to a holy book. Hu adin b'chol sfarim shelanu. That's the law with all of our books, that you shouldn't be holding on to them. Ke'ara meleah, a full bowl. Shelibo alea shelo yishafech mimene. His heart is on it that it should not spill. Right? He's worried that this bowl might spill halfway through. Uva sakin, with a knife, sheloi polaret v'itaka beraglo, that it won't fall to the ground and stick in his leg. Uva maot, with money, shelo yitpazru, that they will not scatter. V'avim hem tzurin, and even if they are wrapped up, that they're not going to scatter everywhere. Tarid is distracted, shemi ovadu, maybe they will be lost. Unless he is holding them in a way that he needn't worry that they might be lost. V'kata b'Birkat Yosef, the Birkat Yosef wrote, do adin, the same rule. The asur lohashiv tinok lefanav b'shat tefillah, that it is forbidden to sit a baby in front of him at the time of prayer. If he's busy taking care of the baby, so how well can he daven? U'maot v'kikar, money and coins. V'davka hani, only these. She'im yiplu yesh bem hefsed o yazikulo, that if they will fall, there is a loss or they would hurt him. Aval shar devarim mutar lechos, but other things it's permissible to hold. So it's not that you can't hold anything, it's only these things that holding them would cause a distraction. Yeshumrim, some say, Dahani lav davka, all of these are not actually specific. Elo orcha de milta nakat. It's just orcha de milta, Aramaic for way of the matter. In other words, it's just telling you the common occurrences. Nakat, mentioned. Vu adin, and it would be the same rule. She'ain litol shum davar biyara b'shat tefillah. Then you shouldn't take anything in your hand at the time of davening. V'chein hiskim hataz, and that's what the Taz wrote. Mibnei shelibo, because his heart will be distracted. Tzarich yinu mutar likach tefillin v'sefer Torah biyado. Hechad demidjarei mipnei ganavim. It requires investigation. Tzarich yun. If it's permissible to take tefillin or a Torah in his hand, where he is afraid of thieves, because it is possible they're permitted to him in such a situation. He's allowed to hold the sefer in his hand when he davens. Nafal sefer la'aretz v'anu yochal lachavein. If the book fell on the floor and he's not able to concentrate, mutar lehagbiho. He is allowed to lift it up. Keshe yesayem habracha she'omed ba. When he concludes the bracha in which he is standing. If not, lo yafsik, then he shouldn't. Then he shouldn't stop. If he's able to concentrate without the siddur, it's a carry on davening without the siddur. How much more so he should not indicate with his finger and other things in the time of prayer. If he began to pray the Shmona Esrei and he got mixed up, he is allowed, suddenly he realized he forgot how to daven, he is allowed to go to a place that he knows about to get a siddur. He can go over to the bookshelf to get a siddur. Lo yachazir acharav. So this is saying that he hasn't got the siddur with him when he starts. He shouldn't now start looking around for a siddur. Mibnei shematrid, because this disturbs him. Taz wrote, du'adin diyesh li zaher. Similarly, you should be careful. Lemishe mitpalel mitoch hasiddur. Somebody who's praying from a siddur, sheyirshom tchila, he should first mark kol hamakomot shetzarich litpalel ba'oto tefillah. All of the places that he needs to pray in that prayer. And he should not search for them while he's praying. He should have an easy reference. Because he will be interrupted through this and he won't focus well. וכן כתב בברכי יוסף, שכן נוהגים רבים מאנשי מעשה, כשרוצים לומר תפילה מחודשת כגון עננו. And the Birkei Yosef wrote that this is how they are accustomed, many people of deeds, in other words, many great people, and they want to say a new prayer, in other words, a prayer that's not normally in there, Kagon Anenu, like please Hashem answer us, or Kagon Vatoriyenu, or like please Hashem inform us, which is what we say when Yom Tov falls on Saturday night, Yom Tov Motzei Shabbat. So then they would get out the prayer with it marked inside where the special prayer would be. Litpalel mito, so most of their prayer would be off by heart, and just those specific places, they would get out the Siddur. Litpalel mitocho, to pray from within it. V'nimtza b'achronim, and it is found in the achronim. She'av b'chazarat ha'shliach tzibur, even when the shliach tzibur goes back, nachon u'shiyeh ha'sidur patuach lefanav. It is correct that the siddur should be open in front of him. Liot oznav pekuchot, that his ears should be open. Al ma she'omer ha'shliach tzibur, listening to what the shliach tzibur says. Now, we're speaking about somebody yawning or belching during prayer, which you shouldn't do. Somebody's yawning mitoch ones, from factors beyond his control. Hua din de begiuk mitoch ones. So too, if somebody is belching from factors beyond his control, leka, there is not. Leka isura, there is not a prohibition. It's not prohibited. De uma de lo nakto, so why did it not mention it? Why does it only speak about yawning beyond her control? Efshar, possibly, mishum devo leka chiyuva la'aniach yado. In such a case, there is not an obligation to place his hand over his mouth. She'ein petichot piv rav kol kach, because his mouth is not open so very wide. V'gam hu lizman mu'at me'od, and it's also for a very short amount of time. Ma she'ein ken b'fiuk, that's not the case with yawning. They yawn for long time. Santero is chin, ainu lechi hatachton, his lower jaw. V'chazanim ha'osim kein b'shat hazemer, and chazanim who do this at the time of song, mutar, they're allowed to do this. Mibnei she'enim mikavnin lagasut, they are not intending to arrogance. Ele lehanim et hakol, rather to make pleasant the voice. There's a way that chazanim hold on to their chins, which make their voices sweeter, apparently. Aval shelo b'shat hazemer asur, but during a time that is not the time of song, even the chazan would not be allowed to do this because it seems like arrogance. And that's it for today.